Welcome to Digging with DeeDee's. I had a request from Paul of American Woodland Relics to do a video on how I make my Aunt DeeDee's recipe for North Carolina pickled peaches. So I know this is out of the ordinary. I normally do treasure hunting videos, but with the garden and everything this year and all the canning I'm doing, I thought I would honor Paul's request. So if you're interested in making pickled peaches, stay tuned. Okay, so to start out, I'm not going to worry about washing these because they're going to get washed. And you'll see what I mean. But there's a seam right here. So we want to cut along the seam like so. And then you take the peach and you twist it. And pull the pit out. And that's all there is to it. So I'm going to do this to a few of these and then I'll show you the next step. Then once you get a bunch of them pitted, you're going to take a knife and just make a slit. Just a little 1-inch slit. See that? Do that to all of them. Because we're going to plunge them in boiling water for a couple seconds, then put them in cold water to stop the cooking process. And that way we'll be able to peel the peels right off of them. So you get your water boiling, and then we're going to drop them in for about... Gotta wait for it to come back up to a boil. And it will help loosen the skin on them. So after about 90 seconds, it doesn't really go back up to a boil again. Strain them out of the water for the next batch. They do smell good. 2 more to go. Yep, plunge them into cold water. Stops the cooking process. And get it to peel. See? So then the skins just peel right off. Just like that. Now, peeling peaches is like peeling boiled eggs. You always get a couple stubborn ones that don't want to peel. That you have to just scrape it off with a knife. In a bowl, get some fruit fresh, which fruit fresh is basically citric acid. And you mix 2 teaspoons with 3 tablespoons of water in a dish. And that is enough to coat up to 4 cups of peaches to keep them from turning brown, because oxidation happens when the flesh is exposed to the air after you peel the skins off. Okay, so we are going to slice the halves in half again and put approximately 4 cups, all of these, into the bowl. Now the pickled peaches that you used to be able to buy in the store, they're made from very tiny peaches. Our peaches up here in Michigan are much larger than that. Cut them all in, you know, so you're quartering the peach actually. And I've got clean hands, of course. Get all these in here, and then I'll show you what I do with them. So then you just mix them by hand and try to make sure they're all coated with the fruit fresh. And I just do this for a couple of minutes to make sure I got them all coated. So we need 4 cups of white vinegar. There's 2. And there's 4. And then we need 6 cups granulated sugar. Let me dry my measuring cup out real quick. Granulated sugar. There's 2. There's 4. Six cups of granulated sugar. Okay. And use my rubber whisk in my hand. And you want to heat this. You don't want to boil it. You just want to warm it up a little bit. Doing a double burner. You don't want to burn your syrup. So we want to dissolve the sugar in this. So to this we're going to add 2 tablespoons cloves, 1. Now some people like to put the spices in a piece of cheesecloth. I don't do that. Okay, and let's see. 1 tablespoon of ground ginger. 2 cinnamon sticks. Cinnamon sticks, approximately, oh, it says 4 inches long. I'm going to throw 3 in because these aren't 4 inches long. So 3 cinnamon sticks in there. Okay. And just want to warm this up and melt the sugar that's in there, vinegar. To put the peaches in. After I have you know, dip them into the fruit fresh. And we're going to put the peaches in, and we're just going to heat them for a few minutes so they can start absorbing the spiced syrup. And I put the first few in until I get the bowl almost, because you don't want to splash this stuff on you, because it's not like hot water, it's like hot syrup. It's going to stick to you and it's going to burn. So be careful doing this part of it. So let me get back to you once I get them all in there. So I poured the liquid into a bigger pot. Okay? And then I carefully ladled the peaches into the hot liquid. We are going to bring this to a gentle boil. Once it gets up to a gentle boil, we're going to let the peaches cook for about 7 minutes. So I'll get back to you when that point comes along. Okay, this is what I call a gentle boil. When you stir it, the boiling stops, kind of. So we're going to cook it like this for approximately 7 minutes, or until a fork pierces the peaches so that we know they're cooked through. You don't want them too soft. Yeah, taking them off the heat because they're tender enough now. We're going to let them cool down. Once they cool down, I'm going to pour them in a dish that will fit in my fridge. And they have to steep in the syrup for 12 to 24 hours. So I will see you tomorrow morning. Next morning, and we have warmed up the pot of peaches, so now we're going to start canning. One more. Yeah. Okay, and make sure you debubble with something non-metallic. Make sure there's no bubbles in there, because bubbles cause spoilage. Okay. Wipe your threads with vinegar. And that will cut the syrup, because you want a clean surface. And as you're doing it, make sure you don't have any cracks in your jar. Get a warm lid. And the ring. Fingertip tight. That's all. You don't want to crank on it. Okay, and I'm gonna put that in the cannon. Okay, my last jar, I'm using a smaller jar because I don't have enough to fill a pint. So I'm using a half pint to put the rest of these peaches in. our tool here to move them around. There's that. And we're going to put some syrup in there. Bit more. There we go. Wipe the rim. Okay, let's put the lid. Make sure you get the threads too. Lid on. Finger tight. When you're canning 2 different size jars, you do the time suggested for the larger jar. So it's 20 minutes for pints. So even though that's a half pint, it's got to go in for 20 minutes. And I'm heating up some more water, and it doesn't want to stand up straight. So we're going to move some stuff. Move it over there. Maybe there. Now it's standing up straight. You just move it around until you find where it wants to sit. And I'm waiting for the other water to warm up to bring the water level above the jars. At least an inch, preferably 2 inches. So now we have the water in the canner. It's been brought to a boil. We're going to put the lid on. We're going to set the timer for 20 minutes. Okay, 20 minutes is up. Turn the heat off. Take the lid off. Pull the canner up. Let's see if I can do this. Bring you closer. Okay. Gloves on. Pull this up. So now we're going to pull the jars out. You want to keep the jars straight up and down. Don't tip them. And we're setting them on a towel. You don't want to set hot jars on a cold counter, or you might have your jar break. Oop, you just heard one pop. That was the sound of a jar sealing. Another one, that's 2 sealing. Now do not tip your jars. I know there's water on top, but don't tip them. And that's all there is to it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, this was a requested video by Paul of American Woodland Relics. And Paul, I will be sending you a jar down to Georgia. It's nice to be able to can something without having to pressure can it. And because of the acid content, all we have to do is water bath these. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you Friday.